So I wasn't sure if I want to make a separate video for this because it's kind of a little bit more complex method. But so here we are. So we just talked about basic exponential smoothing, right? However, we haven't considered the trend or seasonality. Now you know that majority of the data we focus on has some kind of trend or seasonality. So now I'm going to explain what to do if there is a trend and seasonality. So I'm trying to make short videos and don't want to get into too much detail, but next method is sometimes called uh, uh, double exponential smoothing or Holt methods. That will be followed by the triple exponential smoothing or Holt Winters where seasonality included. So if you see some different names, I don't want you to confuse, but overall it's also known Holt Winters methods. So also there is an additive and multiplicative methods, but majority of the time we focus on the multiplicative methods. Mathematically, is additive method is used when seasonal variations are roughly constant, and multiplicative methods are used when seasonal variations are changing. But overall, in real life, we mostly use multiplicative methods, so that's why we use multiplicative example here. I will explain these formulas in the Excel file. So let's go to Excel file. Now I already added this some of the things, and I already calculated some of the things that I'm gonna explain. Now, normally when you have, most likely you have just date, days, and occupancy data. In this example, we are focusing on the occupancy data. Now, also what they wanted from us is to, we have a 56, almost 8 weeks of data available, and they want the next, like coming weeks forecasting, which is the red ones we are going to calculate, okay? I want you to understand one thing. As you can see here, M is the different time periods, right? If it's the quarterly, 4 monthly, 12, etc. The reason majority of the things you see L8, like T8, for example, because we are doing the seasonality in the week. So we are our number is basically in time period is the 7. Okay, so in the week we are looking at the variations. We know that in hotel industry, for example, Tuesday nights versus Saturday night is going to be different, right? The occupancy wise. Let me actually let's do this. Let's once again create different kind of. Let's do this pivot this time. I don't want somewhere else. I want here. I want days and occupancy. No, I don't want sum. I want the average. Let's close this. If you look at here, you can see that Sunday and Saturday are the busiest day for this property. So I just want you to think about this. If this was a monthly, right? For example, let's say you are in the sea resorts and there's a beach resorts, and what you're going to do is the summer times is going to be higher than winter times, right? That's the seasonality basically. But in this case, we are talking about the weekly seasonality, or actually daily seasonality in a week. Now, I want you to focus and go step by step. It's going to helpful for your project. Okay, let's start with step 1. Step 1 is you need to look at the initial seasonals. How is the initial seasonals calculated? Is the formula is here, right? Seasonality 1 is actual 1 divided by average of some numbers. If this was monthly, it's going to be average of 12 months. But because we are talking about days in a week, then it's going to be 7 days. Like for example here, D2 is the occupancy at the actual 1, which is here, like period 1, right? Divided the average of that week. So average is locked in D2 to D8. Why? Because if we copy this formula down, that thing is going to move also, but we want to use the same average for that week. Like for example, if you go here, Then they use D6, which is the actual 5, once again divided that week's average. Okay, so that's why it's the S1, S2, S3, S4 up to S7. You need to calculate the seasons. So seasons are seasons are calculated. Initial seasons, by the way. Let's not forget this part. Let's look at this part, which is the level. This one here, the first one. Okay, so it says basically level 8, which is the 8th period here, level 8 here, actual 8, this one, divided to initial season 1. Done. Okay, next part, like the next step is getting the trend. Okay, sorry, just give me a second. Next one is the calculating the trend 8, T8. Period 8, T8 is here. How do you calculate that? You got the D9, okay, which is the actual value here, divided to season 1, similar to level, right? However, we have additional things, minus, we got the period before, which is the actual 7, okay, divided to season 7. If you follow this step by step, it's become much easier. Like A8 divided the season 1, A7 basic the actual period 7 divided the seasonal period 7. So period 7 is here, and seasons here, season period 7 is here, right? So it's not that actually complex. Now, initials are good. We calculate the 7 seasons here so far. Actually, let's make it a little bit different color maybe. Okay, so you know these are separate than the others. Okay, so we calculated this so far. Let's start the next step. Before we start, we need to give some kind of numbers to alpha, beta, and gamma. Now, these are randomly giving numbers. If we are giving random numbers, what's the point of calculating forecasting? There is a way to optimize to getting the best value out of those, which I'm going to explain in the next video. Okay, but for the sake of simplicity, we gave some random numbers. So 0.4, 0.3, and 0.3. Let's start with the calculating the season in data seasonals first. Okay, if you look at here, this is the formula. Let's come here. It says in formula, you take the gamma. By the way, whatever you do calculations, you always like gamma, beta, and alpha, because when you move that formula to other the cells, that moves as well. So that's why you are locking. I mean, I'm sure you are using your Excels always. But what you do is take the gamma, this one, okay, here. Then you take the actual T divided by LT. It's actual T here, LT is here. Basically, time T means, right? Then plus 1 minus gamma times, now this is kind of tricky, times 1 minus gamma times S season time T minus M. What does the T minus M mean? Okay, so easiest way, normally is a T minus, which is the period 8, minus M means 7, right? Period is 7, T is 8, M is 7, M means time periods, right? We have 7 days, 7, if there was a month, it's going to be 12, but in this case, we have weekly, so 7. 8 minus 7 is season 1. But to make it simpler, instead of focusing on that, when you do this, we are on Sunday, correct? So you look at the seasonality in the last Sunday. That's it. So you get it, and you pull this down. You calculate all the way to here. If it goes more than that, you can delete them. We calculate these things all the way here. The next step then, let's go to level. Okay, so in the level, if you look at here, we use alpha. Okay, click here, alpha value times actual T divided to what? Once again, S T minus M. So basically we are looking at the Monday to last week's Monday season. Now if you want to calculate this, basically once again, because we are period 9 and we are talking about M is 7, 9 minus is 7, so we're going to get seasonal 2, initial seasonal 2. But in this case, it's automatically calculated. Not automatically calculated, I'm sorry. In this case, we are looking at the simplest approach. If you are looking at this Monday, we are looking at the last Monday season. That's it. And plus, once again, mon minus alpha times L T minus 1 plus T minus 1. Basically, we are, because of the, okay, we are doing this, right? So what is the L T minus 1? One time period before level plus one time period level trend. So basically this 2 is here. That's it. You also pull this down all the way. That's it. So we got the seasonals, we got the level, now trend. Trend is here. It says you take the beta. Once again, lock down and multiply by LT minus LT1. So LT is here in your time period. The minus time period before this one. So E10 minus E9. So let's continue. Plus 1 minus beta. Okay. And actually, it seems we forgot here. T times. What is the T at T times 1? It's here. That's it. And pull this down all the way. So far, we calculated the initials, initial season, initial level, initial trend. We got the seasonals in data and seasonal levels and seasonal trends. Okay, so far is good. Now, forecasting calculated in 2 approaches. First one is in data forecast, which is here. It's not that complex if you look at it. What you do is basically you take the initial level, like you can look at here, initial level plus initial trend times, which is the seasonal, right? So once again, we are looking at the Monday seasonal. We got the Monday seasonal. We got this. We calculate all the way down. Now, actually, let's move this here. Actually, we can see it. Okay. This is so far, we all done. Basically, we calculated initials and in data forecasting. I also added the calculation of forecasting, but we are going to talk about a little bit later on that. Now, for the real forecasting, actual forecasting is here. This calculation is a little bit different. It's not too different, but a little bit different. What we are doing here is we are once again using LT and trend. But what we are doing here is adding the factor of K. What does the K means? K means is the future forecasting. Like up to this points, we have some kind of calculations. We don't know from this point on. So we are giving numbers 1 through 7 because we have a 7-day forecasting because we are using the daily data in the week. We are getting here, like for example, what it says here, level at time t. Okay, we are calculating here. We got the level at time t. Then plus K times, which is the K here, times trend. Times, after the closing parentheses, we look at the G51. Once again, similarly before, we are looking at the Sunday, we are looking at the seasonality in Sunday. So after the calculations, we pull this down, and that's it. You're all set. We can also continue to calculate now the, of course, there is no actual data. We cannot calculate the error. So that's all. Hopefully in the next videos we are going to talk more about how to optimize these data as well.